Hey guys, it's Empress. Guess what? Back with another one. Let's get to it.
It's more than a statement, it's a way of life. Celebration, the Mr. Jackson talking.
Alright guys, I am back with another Patreon's pick. This is by my girl Shona T. She's in the Married tier on Patreon. And that's a tier you get 4 reactions from me, your choice, I react. For more information about that, click on the link below. Alright guys, so her last pick in her Married tier is by Olivia Newton-John, and it's an interview on the set of Xanadu, a movie I still haven't seen yet, alright? But I do know that song slaps. Xanadu, for you, Xanadu. Hey, hey, hey. Alright, let's go.
Not really, no, but it's sort of go.
Okay, so just in this clip alone, Olivia kind of looks a little bothered, right? Stressed, not in the best of moods. Maybe it's a long day on the shooting set. When I read her book, she did say that she had to wear like a little butt donut because she had like broke her butt or something like that on them skates. So maybe this is during that time.
Olivia Newton-John, got the roll number. And cue.
Well, we're about to go into the 80s, and the last 10 years have been pretty hectic time for you. How do you sort of, first of all, look over your own career over the last 10 years?
It's been phenomenal, really exciting, and I think more has happened to me in the last 4 years than before that, but it's been a combination of all the years before. It's been fantastic. If the next 10 years are as good as this one, it'll be great.
Right. Now, when you first...
Okay, so at this point, Greece had happened, right? So this is like 1980, maybe 79. So then, yeah, it's like Greece and what, I Honestly Love You, 76, right? I honestly love you. Alright, let's go.
Left Australia. I mean, prior to that, in the 60s, you've been doing, a lot of rock and roll material, and especially on the Go Show, and working with people like Johnny Farrar. Then you went into sort of a more country type of thing, and then as the years rolled by, and especially when you come to Greece, it went back to that real rock and roll thing. How do you sort of view...
So I've never like really interpreted Totally Hot being like Olivia returning back to her roots, but in a sense, yeah, it is, right? That rock sound, right?
Own career of musically, like the step-by-steps that you've taking it right back to the early 70s.
When I first started, it was really folk singing in a nightclub, and then when I first went to England and started singing with Pat, there wasn't much opening for contemporary stuff unless you had a record, so you had to sing cabaret.
Right.
And cabaret, we went into recording, and it changed again. I've tried to grow and stretch a little bit each time I've made an album, which is usually when I get the chance to try out new material, and I'm getting braver and braver. Hopefully, I'll go to the next one.
Yeah.
But
you went into, especially with Greece, you went back to sort of almost the roots of your own music, of going into sort of a more gutty rock and roll,
Yeah. In the Go Show, though, I generally used to sing the ballads. I wasn't really, I wanted to, but I didn't really have the confidence to do much of the really funky stuff.
Right.
But now I'm getting the confidence, and I really love doing it, and John gives me the chance.
I love just how open, like, she's always have been, at least from the interviews I've seen, also in the 70s, just open about her talent, like, well, I'm not the confident, I'm not the best, so I can get better. Like, you would never hear artists say that today. That's cool.
To try out all different kinds of styles.
All right.
Yeah, she like she over it.
And roll.
Over the last 10 years, how do you personally view the 70s music?
I think the biggest influence, the black music has been the biggest kind of influence on the now sound of the 70s, which I love. And Stevie Wonder probably is one of the strongest influences, but it's been longer than the 70s even, but he's sort of...
Well, it's strange. I mean, when we talk about, particular influences, do you think Stevie Wonder has been an influence on 70s music?
I'm sure he has. He and his contemporaries. The Bee Gees. I think the people that would go down in the 70s would have to be the Bee Gees. The Beatles will always stay there. I think they'll transcend the next 30 years.
Now, how important is film?
ONJ knew what she was talking about. Let's go.
Do you think? and video to the 70s, as far as linking rock music to people?
I don't know about film so much, television. Film hasn't been all that many. I think Grease to a certain extent, but rather limited because it was 50s music anyway.
Right.
But television definitely, yeah. And radio airplay, which is getting wider and wider all the time, and you can listen to any, in America anyway, you can listen to any kind of music. It's incredible. I mean, every station has their own format, and if you feel like rock or you feel like jazz or country music or soul, you have that choice.
Right, now, when we go back to film, I mean, like going back into the turn of the 70s, it was sort of not really thought of that sort of singers like yourself and Midler would be doing films, you know, combining the two sort of together. I mean, do you think it's been important?
This one that I'm doing now is John Farrah's doing the music, half of the music, and Jeff Lynne from ELO is doing the other half. So the music is incredible. I mean, it's fantastic. This is the start. I think this could be the start of a whole spate of them if it's accepted. And the music is very, very contemporary. In Greece, which is really the biggest, Saturday Night Fever. Okay, Saturday Night Fever in Greece. Why did I forget Saturday Night Fever? I don't know where I was.
Well, we'll take Greece, for instance. In Greece, and it's funny, I mean, a lot of music writers that we've interviewed, you know, including the Elton Johns and the Paul McCartneys and that, say that it'll go back to rock and roll and it'll go back to lyrics, boy meets girl sort of thing. Now, Greece, even though it was sort of 50s music, but it was updated, was all of that really, wasn't it?
Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, wins it back. It's the same story.
Now, when you first saw the script of that, did you think it was slightly smolchy?
No, because I saw the stage show in London about 8 years ago. Well, actually, it's 9 years ago, I think, when it just came out, and I remembered it and I loved it. So, and I liked the music, and it was instant. It was an instant gut feeling that it was the right thing to do. I loved it.
Right, now, Olivia Newton-John for the 80s.
For the 80s. Well, the beginning of the 80s will be this new movie called Xanadu that I'm doing, which is a fantasy again, much more fantasy than Grease even, with even more contemporary music and a chance to stretch a little bit in acting, which is really what I like to do more of.
And more albums?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think they just got to come over here and show them, because there's some wonderful singers there, really fabulous.
And John Farrah, I mean, it must have been a great buzz for you to sort of a friend of yours to be tied up with Grease and have such equal success yourself, really.
John is a genius. I mean, I always knew he was talented and brilliant, but he's got so much talent, it's frightening. He's really incredible. And have you heard any of the new music?
Yeah.
Shout out to John, guys. I noticed on that the Rumor album, John's lack of presence being there, I hear it. All right, let's go.
It's wonderful, it really is.
Well, so thanks for being on the show again.
Pleasure.
And we wish you all the luck in
Thank
the
you.
80s.
Thank you.
Cut.
Can we just do one promo? And not with...
Is rolling and cue. And cut. That's lovely.
Wow, so Olivia looked a little tired, right, a little over it, but she was very attentive and into the interview, and I imagine the pressure, right? Olivia in the 80s, like, dude, I don't even know, but little did she might know, right around the corner, boom, oh, let's get physical. It's like really about to just change the game up, right? And I don't think, looking at that, I could have never foreseen Olivia Newton-John physical at all, right? So that was, when we talk about risk takers, Olivia Newton-John has to be up there on that list. That's one of the biggest risk takers of all, because that was a real gamble, but she did it and it paid off. All right, drop your comments below. What did you think about this interview? All right, guys, hope everybody's out there feeling good, staying safe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.